quick update on it here. What I'm seeing when I look across our notch is good wood, and this is a white oak, and I really hate to not cut through the heart of white oak. I'll probably just put a bar width or maybe 2 in it and call it good, so we don't pull the middle out of it, but just to give it somewhere to start breaking. But I'm going to leave a good bit of that heart because it's good and sound there. I think my unsound spot's back here, and I think the closer I come this way, I'm going to get back into sound wood. So we're going to keep moving forward with this, and because all of that wood right there looks good. Every bit of that wood that I see looks okay. So we're going to keep moving forward and hope for the best right here. Now, I'm going to give him a mark since I do have a helper here, and we're going to stop right there. So you're just going to watch for my bar to get to that spot, and I'm going to cut on the other side to where I want to stop, and I'm going to swing the bar into this mark here so that when you talk to me, I'll be done. Now I can start cutting back out now. All right, let's keep trucking here. And if something goes wrong, that direction over there is where we want to go. Okay. Because all of the weight is here, and when you start moving, keep moving. Don't slow down to look at it. You need to get out of there because it could split and you know, gator mouth and shoot way out. So we want to make sure that when we need to start moving, if something goes weird, just get going and get some distance in between us and this old tree. All righty. All right, did you throw oil in it too? Yep. Attaboy. All right, so we got our field back up, and what just this little bit of cutting right here was a full tank of gas in a 500i. Just so you know, it does like gas, but there's a lot of cutting in that tree right there. That thing is huge. So anyway, we're setting up our cut here now. We're on the back side now, setting up our what we call holding wood. So we've already, just again to kind of bring you up to speed what we've done so far, we blocked out the sides so that we have room to work our saw in there. Because our bar is only 32 inches, and that's a big old tree. And it's just short of going with a monstrous bar and bigger saw, this is kind of a way to deal with this style cut with a saw that isn't quite big enough, or bar isn't quite big enough. So we have our bore cut. I kind of dropped a little there. I shouldn't have. You can kind of see it going down when I finished out that cut. But anyway, it's a little lower than it should be. Now, when we, so we blocked out our sides, did that to both sides. Then we cut our notch. And then we set up our plunge to set up our hinge wood. Then went around, bore cut in the middle to cut the heart so we don't have so much fiber pull. White oak is really, really bad about fiber pulling. Now we're cutting out the back of the cut to set up our holding wood that's going to be holding our tree. So right now our tree is setting on 3 points, a left and a right and a back. So we're doing is getting all that set right where we want it. And then we're going to start driving wedges here in just a second. We'll set a wedge on each side before we cut our back strap, or our holding wood there. and we'll cut it a little bit of an angle so we don't miss it. If you try to line up perfect with it, you'll end up with a miss, and misses aren't good. So we'll cut a little bit of an angle to it. And now I'm really anticipating rather having to drive them straight from the back, because again, we're trying to drive this tree against its lean. All right, guys, let's do something else here too. I want to show you how to stack a wedge in a tree that we're going to have to drive a great distance. The reason for this is the amount of lift we're going to get out of that is you know, it's at a degree factor from the pivot point to the back ear, and that's not be too many degrees, and one's not probably going to give us enough. So I think what I'm going to do before I go any farther is set up to where I can start stacking wedges. And you always want wood between these. If you lay them on top of each other and drive them like this, drive one in the next and in the next, eventually you're going to catch one in the face. A friend of mine, he's got a nasty scar on his head from one of those shooting back out and hitting him. Lucky to be alive, because that thing came out like a bullet. But so what I'm going to do is bore cut in here and give myself plenty of room to start laying wedges, and they'll be close together so that those pieces of wood will break as they start lifting. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to, for y'all to see here, try to line this up with this Sharpie so you can see where our line is in our tree. Let me see if we're still looking good here. All right, so right here is really close to where our line is. If we continue our cut right off the back, that's where it's going to be. So I'm going to stop where I am and bore cut here. So I've got two big chunks of holding wood here and here, and I'm not going to set my wedge in there just yet. I'm going to set on the two sides, and that way when I clip these two corners, like I talked about earlier, dropping down, then I'm not compromising my very back, because when I need access to slide a wedge in there, if I have this hump, then I straighten it up. What I'll run into with the problem is I lose lift right there, and I really gonna need all the lift I can get. So I'm gonna plunge probably from here to here, so I have plenty of room when my wedge is sitting in the middle to clip those off. Then I'm gonna come right above it here with another plunge and another plunge right above it. That'd be 1, 2, 3. Let's put 4 in it. I've got 4 wedges on me, and we have more, so that'll give us enough to stack 4, and in that one area they'll just break the sides out and keep lifting this tree and separating it. So that's going to be our plan right now. So let's go ahead. I'm going to make sure my bar is straight across the back. I don't have any curve in it, and to do that I'm making sure my chain is touching right here and where it penetrates here, and that is really close, so that looks good. So now I'm going to plunge in right in here and these spots, and then we'll be ready to, actually I'm going to go ahead and set 2 wedges on the side too, just to be safe, in case right here lets it start collapsing, and then we'll be ready to start going. So that's what we're going to do. Slide this guy out. We're just going to, now I'm setting this back enough to where my chain won't hit it when I try to cut that off. I'm going to set it pretty hard. All right, there we go. There's our 2 side wedges set. And again, this is, what I'm showing you here is not timbering in the woods, kind of getting a tree down. This is way too time consuming for any kind of production cutting. What we're trying to do is put this tree in a very specific spot because of other circumstances here. So again, this is not the way you'd be dealing with harvesting in the woods. This would be an extremely slow way of doing this. But what I'm showing you is one when it really needs to go where you need it to go and is not trying to go there. So let's go ahead. He's got some more wedges here. I'm going to go ahead and set these this plunge up, so we'll be ready to clip our holding wood here shortly. All right. We'll go ahead and start setting some of these wedges so that as soon as I clip that, we are in gear and ready to go. I don't want to have to set that one too hard. See if I can get that one back out. Yeah, there we go. Let's see those other fellers. I wonder. Yeah. See that fella there. Okay. As long as this one started in that curve, we'll be okay. So that looks pretty good. We'll use him eventually. So now you can see we are setting ourselves up to have quite a bit of lift back here. I'm not sure that one is going to do good, but it'll be all right. So, all right. Now I'm going to cut down at an angle from right here to here and there to there. And the wedges now are holding the tree. And as soon as we start clipping it, another thing too, if you don't have your wedges set and you cut this back strap piece, and you have a setback like this one definitely would set on us, it's really hard to get the saw out and get another one started. You can see how that one's really hard to get started once it started closing. So we already having these set, money in the bank for us. All right, again, our retreat path is going to be a little bit unconventional here, because if things go wrong, our typical retreat path would be taken up. So ours is going to be more at a 45 this way instead of either way. So we're going to be going that way, and if things really go weird, we're probably going to go the opposite way. So that's our loose plan. All right, I'm going to take the scary side first. This one is the place I don't want to be the most, so I'm going to do it first, then I can get out of the way. This one, I'm already in my retreat zone, so that's going to be better. Something go weird, just scream and take off. All right, we're ready for a Sunday drive now. She should be all the way through now. Whew, puppy is tight. They are tight. See this one trying to come out. I'm going to pull it. It's bad because we lose that much where its kerf is, but it'll be all right. See any movement yet?
Not yet.
No shake yet. Oh, that was tight, tight, tight. Nothing at all?
A little shaking up top, but nothing lean.
Yeah, it's just collapsing those other kerfs. That one is hating life right there. These bibs strike again. Let's see if we can get some of that broke out of there. Some tools to beat with. One. One of those, they might come out there. Let me hit that big hammer there, I'll trade you. feller. It's just not small enough yet. Let me plunge it a time or two more. Yep, there's our holler spot. You can see our hollow area back in there. Not real tickled about all that at all, but we'll just keep praying everything goes well. We're going to go ahead and put our jack in place now, and our jack plate on the top so it doesn't shove the top of the ram through it. And let's see what happens here. Hope I made it big enough. Ooh, just barely. I think that'll work. Nope, I need a little deeper. Let me trim a little more on that corner where that didn't break out all the way. I need a little more than that. Okay, let's try it again. I think that'll work. A little too far. Make sure that'll work. Yep, that looks good. Let's get our plate in place. You can see that there. Lose our daylight on us here. We definitely want this on the ground by dark. Okay, again, our retreat path is going to be kind of back in that open spot there. Everything goes well. Again, you don't really want to stand in front of this jack because that plate could shoot out of there. If we hear something crack down in that hinge, we're getting out of town. Hear the weight coming off that wedge. Start doing it real slow now. Let everything catch up. Wedges are loose. I'm just going to leave them in there though, in case something catastrophic happens. It won't set down any lower than that, like O-ring in the jack brakes or something silly. It's moving up in the top a little. Little bits at a time. Tighten up our wedges. She's slowly lifting. Again, I'm not in front of this jack. In case something goes wrong, it spits out. I don't want to be there. Give it a second, let the top catch up with the bottom. As we're moving the top quite a bit when we move the bottom an inch. We're about an inch off the back. What we're really hoping happens is that front hinge doesn't crack on us. If it pulls, we got to get out of here. Hearing a lot of noises. We're seeing some cracking in the front there. We'll step back and let it do its thing for a minute. Stops making noises, we'll jack on some more. How's it looking out there? Is it starting to move?
Yep.
Tighten these wedges back up again. Not much weight on this thing right now. All right.
There it goes.
We're going to hang back and watch the tops stop moving. Nothing to fall. It's been in that opening, worked out real good. We just had one limb catch, I see. All right. Well, that's why that thing was so hard to jack. It was trying to lift itself up by the handle. Looky there. Note to self, fold the jack handle down. All right, let's take a look at everything here. There's our plate, it laid right in there. Okay, we have let's take a look. There's that spot we were feeling that was hollow. thankfully it was back. Remember when I told you when I bored through, I could feel like we were back into good wood. We could see good wood here. Now, it wasn't wonderful, but it wasn't horrible. So we had good wood there, good wood here. So we had plenty of good hinge wood here. I'd like to have not had a hollow spot in it. And these are extremely dangerous. And if you haven't cut tons of trees and you sense a hollow, and just stop. That's the best thing to do, just right then, just stop, because those things are very dangerous. And I don't ever like to get somebody in a spot there. But I'm gonna pick you up high and let you look at the top of this stump. We'll talk about it for just a moment. So you can see the two sides where we blocked off there so the bar would stick through. We have our hinge wood here. We cut her heart so we wouldn't have tons of fiber pull. We still had more than what would be ideal. We got whiskers about 10 inches long, but we needed to make sure we kept it with this soft spot in the tree. So I would rather have fiber pull and maintain control of the tree than to have zero fiber pull and end up with no control. So that's kind of why we did that. So you can see our two release spots there and there. There's where we plunge cut through to set up both our hinge and our holding wood, and it looks really good. That's kind of what we're after. Big old tree here. I haven't measured it, but it's a monster, and big old tree. But anyway, we'll go ahead and mark this thing out. We've got a nice path. That's exactly where we needed this thing to go, so we get these logs out real easily. And I don't want to drag them all through the dirt and everything else. If they'd gone the other way, they would have torn up a bunch of trees. You can see there, we would have had a big mess where when we look in our canopy, we had a beautiful spot to set this thing. Again, we spent an enormous amount of time putting this tree on the ground. Not a big deal though, because we needed it in a very specific spot. You would not do this in production timbering. We would have just put it where it wasn't to go. We'd have moved the others out of the way first and laid this one right in there, but those others do not go right now. So that's why we spent the extra time to do this. So anyway, there's a little bit about what's going on. And we really didn't enter this project thinking we'd be doing a tree jacking video, but again, some things you got to be willing to change your mind through it and adjust the plan. So it all went really well in the end. Very, very pleased with it, and thankful it's on the ground, nobody got hurt. So that's always a good thing. So we'll go ahead and mark this thing out and get her bucked into pieces.